Praise be to Jesus, both now and forever. Today is the third Sunday of Easter. We are in the season of Easter, and the Gospel of today from John chapter 21 presents to us the third time Jesus Christ appeared to the disciples. The risen Christ showed himself to the disciples the third time. And in the first reading of today, the theme of my reflection today is on the obedience to the risen Christ, following the instructions of the risen Christ. This is what is expected of us as Christians. And that's why in the first reading of today, from the Acts of the Apostles chapter 5, the apostles, with the miracles they did in Acts of the Apostles chapter 3, which Peter and John healed a crippled man, and then from there they started preaching the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ to the people who came to witness, who came as a result of the marvelous things God have been doing in their lives through the apostles. And then the apostles were more encouraged to go into the temple preaching the good news. And then they were arrested by the Jewish authorities, and then the Jewish authorities today warned them sternly not to preach on this name, on the name of Christ. For them, for the Jews, it was preaching on the name of Christ would bring them guilt feelings, because they having crucified Christ, they feel that when Jesus Christ is now being preached, that people would place the guilt of killing Jesus Christ upon them. And then the apostles, in response, told them that we are not following human precepts, that our authority comes directly from God, and we must obey God. And that is the point in our Christian life. We are called to obedience to God and the church. And that's most important for us as Christians, that God is first and foremost in our lives. And through the power of the risen Christ, through the faith of the risen Christ, we are encouraged more to live our Christian life. And that's why the risen Christ is the reason for our Christian faith. And we must stand on the instructions of Christ, and we must be able to do what Christ instructs us to do. And that's why we see in the gospel, when Jesus Christ visited the apostles, after the resurrection, somehow they were trying maybe to return to their old ways. So, in spite of the fact they have seen the risen Christ twice, they went back to their old ways of life, fishing, and maybe trying to find meaning there. They weren't convinced, because third is the number of completion. I think Jesus Christ appeared to them the third time in order to make their faith, in some way, if you put it in that way, complete, or to make them to believe firmly that He has risen, so that there is no way, there's no reason to return to your old way. So Jesus Christ appearing to them as they were fishing. Of course, what happened in Luke chapter 5, where they caught nothing all night, Jesus Christ appearing to them today also. They caught nothing after laboring all night, and Jesus Christ, just a simple instruction, as He did, and told them put into the deep, and they caught a whole lot of sheep and fish, and they could not carry, even though the sheep was the fish was so huge and big and a lot of things, but the net could not break, where the net didn't tear. So meaning that the risen Christ make them to be fruitful. So they followed the instruction of the risen Christ, and they had fruitfulness in their fishing. So this is pointing to the fact that whatever we are doing as Christians, that in all our efforts towards evangelization, we must ensure that we follow the instructions of God. Many of the things we do in order to evangelize, just as like priests and seminarians, we may be laboring so much and doing so much, but we may be following human precepts. So the gospel of today, the message of today of the risen Christ, is to follow the instruction of the risen Christ. The instruction of the risen Christ is simple. Go ye into the world, preach the good news. And also it involves the way we live our life, our mode of life. And we as Christians must ensure that in everything we hear the voice of God, we always ensure that we are following the instructions of Christ. And that is more practical when we try as much as we can to visit Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament, to always allow Jesus to speak to us, that will help us in order to engage in our work evangelism. So that's the message of today. The risen Christ is risen indeed, and we are, as Christians, encouraged to always listen to him, and it is by listening to him that he will set us on fire so that we can now go out to preach the good news and bear more fruit. May God continue to bless and keep us as we are people of the risen Christ, move out into the world to preach the risen Christ to all the world. Thank you.
We have come with open hearts. Oh, let the ancient words impart. Ancient words ever true, changing me and changing you. We have come with open hearts. Oh, let the ancient words impart. We have come with open hearts. Oh, let the